You've just completed your study on the exterior portion of the inspection. Getting all the information into a written document is a very important task. Just as you need to be a good inspector, you also will need to be a good collector of information, knowledgeable at categorizing that information, a skilled interpreter of what each bit of information means, and a great communicator of the final message you want to send. This all needs to be included in the written document you deliver to the customer. A written report must include 5 key categories. The first one is the description of the component. The description of the component is going to be a noun or nouns. For the exterior, would be a good example would be wood siding. The next thing in a report must do is describe the condition of each component. So example with the wood siding, cracked, split, rotted, or decayed. These are verbs. So the condition of each component is described with a verb. The third thing a good written document must do is to note any limitations to your observing that component, if applicable. You don't have to have limitations. But if you do have a limitation, it must be legitimate. Example, let's say on the north side of the property it was covered with ivy. You wouldn't be able to see the siding. You need to put that in the report. The fourth thing that a written document needs to do is to really discuss the degree of the problem that you saw. It's not enough just to say it's cracked. You need to be able to define whether that's a major problem. Is it a minor problem? Is it a possible problem? Or is it no problem at all? You're just commenting that you saw something. And the last thing the report needs to do is to deal with next steps. If you've told somebody there's a problem, there must be an action required. Example, are you telling me to repair the siding? Are you telling me to replace the siding? Or are you telling me to monitor the siding over time that it might develop into a problem? Or again, is there no action required? When entering information into your software program, always keep in mind the primary functions of the exterior and each of the individual components. This will help you in determining the degree of the problem and next steps. For example, the primary exterior functions are protect the structural components, protect the interior spaces from the elements, and the last one would be appearance. So example, if I was missing a piece of wood siding, it wouldn't be protecting the structural components, nor would it be protecting the interior spaces from the elements, and I would also say it's not looking so good. So we would consider that a major defect requiring a repair or replacement. Using Horizon software lets us look at how you would apply these principles that we've just discussed. When you open up the Horizon program, and after you've logged in, you're going to see the home screen. And on the home screen, it's going to have all the list of inspection or job orders that you've created. Now notice the status here in the middle of the screen. Either the status is going to be in progress, it's going to be tentative, or it could be something that has already been completed. So it's going to tell you what's going on here. I've already set up, and you should have already set up in Unit 1 a job that you're going to be using, but we're going to use and follow mine now to learn how to enter into the written report. Now we're going to use the client name of David Peters, and if you go across here in the middle job here, follow my icon here, we're going to go to work orders. You've already completed that. You completed that in unit number 1. All right? Now, had this not been in progress and said tentative, you would not see this report box. It wouldn't allow you to do that. And if that's the case, okay, go back to work orders and go back up to status in the upper left corners and make sure you make that confirmed. That will be how you're going to, again, get back and get that report box on here. Like I say, you should have done that in Unit 1. But let's open up the reporting system and let's talk about how we're going to fill this in, either in the field or on a PC or a laptop in your home or office. All of these are different things that you can do. We're not going to go through each one of these, but being that this is the first unit where you're going to start filling in the problems and things you're observing in the house, you want to first load photos. So we're going to push load photos. Now what can happen is you can choose files off of your computer that you've transferred from your camera, and you can download them all in here so that they will be available to you. All right, so let's go back. We're not going to do that right now, but let's go back. So let's go back to the screen after. So we have now loaded our photos, and we're ready to start doing the inspection. The units that you are studying in the course are all across the top. They correspond to what unit numbers are in the book. The only difference is heating is combined as 1. It isn't broken down into 3 units. But you just completed the exterior portion of the inspection, so we entered that. It's going to change the color to make it look a little bit, so you can recognize it a little bit better. But notice that all of these boxes changed when you went to the exterior icon. There's 3 things that you have the ability to do here. One is to describe the exterior. The second one is to note any limitations with the exterior. Notice how everything changed. And the third thing you can do is talk about what the problems and recommendations are that you noted with regards to the components of the exterior. So let's go back to description and let's do an example for today. Now these primary categories opened up. Now you can change those categories if you want. These are remaining closed, but I can open these anytime I want if they apply to my home. So example, I've got soffits and fascia here. Notice how now soffit and fascia went up here and opened up. So as I continue to look through here, I can determine prior to even going out on the inspection the type of house I saw, what I want to have opened up to me here. So what I can do now is I can describe. Let's go down to the wall surfaces and trim. Let's describe that. Let's say I saw metal siding out on that home. Notice how this edit icon comes up, and also the ability to add another metal siding if perchance you wanted to identify different sides of the home or something along those lines. But here's what I want to show you. If I want to go to this edit and push it, it brings up my pictures that I had previously downloaded into this program. So if I want to add a picture to show that metal siding, I can click it here, and that will now become a part of my written document. So now if I save and close, okay, notice that this icon, meaning there's a picture or an illustration that's going to go along with that metal siding. So let's go up and say, okay, we've described the metal siding. Was there any limitations to my seeing that siding? Notice how a couple of the categories opened up, and there's more categories down here. But here it says inspection is limited and prevented by, and here's all your choices. Notice there's a blank item at the end. You can add anything you want on the fly. But let's use something that's already entered into this system. Let's say the vines and shrubs were on the siding. All right? That limitation is now going to go into the report as well. And I could also take a picture of those vines and shrubs to show somebody that I wasn't able to see that side of the home. So let's go back up under that component and say the third thing that we're going to do is the recommendations. Here's the recommendations button. Now I have nothing open here, but notice in the left category I've got roof and various things after roof, walls. Let's talk about, remember when we did walls and trim? Okay, metal siding. Let's open that one up. Notice up at the top that it all opened that category and moved itself up. Now what do I want to say about the metal siding? Well, maybe I want to say it's rusted. All right? Okay, when I do this in the description category only, it gives me the options to fill in things. I don't have to fill in any of this, but I can if I want. Let's just say it was rusted on the north side of the home in the left column. Floor level doesn't pertain to the exterior. Rooms don't pertain to the exterior. But what am I recommending that these people do? I'm going to say replace that side of siding. It's all rusted out. What's the timetable? All right, let's say do it within 3 years. All right? Now, most of us will not deal with cost issues, so we'll just leave that blank. So we can save and close that, okay? And we've now got rust in there. We know where it is. Okay, I can also put a picture in there if I want. Now, I don't happen to have a picture of that, so I could go and put in an illustration. Here's an illustration. This particular program has over 1,700 illustrations in it. I could actually, through the search index, type in a name or something that I'm trying to find, and most of the time I'm going to find a description of that. So let me put in something like trees. Okay, here's some things come down, cracks in foundation, shrubs, trees too close to the house. Let's put that in there. I can now drop that into that report as well. So now I go back, okay, and back to the pictures, and I'm going to save and close. So under that, I'm also going to see that illustration. So we've completed one component. If I choose, I can go up to the top bar and I can look at a preview of what I've done. Now, you're not going to do this real often, but you can anytime you want to know what it's going to look like in the finished report. There's going to be a summary page. Notice that exteriors come up. I tap exterior. There's my picture of the exterior of this home. Okay, showing you on some of the descriptions, metal siding, vines and shrubs, rust, etc. I can close that out, and I can go back to work on the next component. You now have an idea of how to navigate this section, gather information, and apply it to the various exterior components. If you enrolled for the entire home inspection course, you receive 4 months free use of Horizon software. Take time experimenting with this program on your own. For additional support, the software developer has a very thorough online tutorial and multiple webinars available. Before moving to the next unit, your assignment is to complete the exterior section of the program using the client you set up in unit number 1. Use your own home or the home of a friend or relative as the subject property. Using all that you have learned, go out and inspect the exterior of this home. Save this portion along with the client setup. At the end of each of the remaining units, you will complete the same assignment. Then at the end of this course, you will have completed your first software-generated inspection report.